The year 2025 that we're in might be a year that many might choose to forget or can't wait to see it end. And the reason for this is simply because of the financial problems that we are having in the economy. Right now, we are hearing terms like inflation, stagflation, and everyone knows what inflation is all about. It's simply prices are rising higher. Well, what is stagflation? Well, stagflation is when inflation is high, unemployment is high, and the economy is showing a slow growth. People right now are getting very afraid. It's called the turbulence that they're witnessing in the economy. And why are they? Well, we see where the unemployment situation is getting out of hand. The private sector, they are laying people off. The folks down in Washington, D.C., just laying people off in thousands. Where do these people go to get a job? And how long will it take for them to get a job? As a result of that, we're seeing consumer spending taking a nosedive. Because if you have a few dollars now, you're going to hang on to it, not knowing what happens next month, 3 months from now, or 6 months from now. Foreclosures are creeping up and it's getting scary. 6 months from now, when the unemployment situation really sets in, we are going to be in for a very, very rough ride. Credit card debts have been increasing because people are using them as their personal piggy bank, which is bad. The banks will say to you, for example, minimum payment on your account is $50. But because the interest rates are usually in the high teens, early 20s, what will happen is that the interest for that month in question is far higher than your minimum payment. Consequently, as the months move along, you're seeing your balances increase, going higher and higher and higher. All of this, my friends, is born into consumer confidence. It's going down, 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 and down. Now, many of us do have a 401k. And based off the turbulence in the marketplace now, people are witnessing 20%, 30%, 40% decrease in their savings, and they are panicking. What should they do? This, my friends, the picture that is painted points to an economy that is contracting. And only a few months ago, we saw where the Feds came out and said the economy is a relatively good position. So maybe 2 interest rate cuts. But based on what I am seeing right now, though I'm not an economist, I've studied a lot of economics. I think we might see 3, maybe 4 rate cuts. Now the question arises, who are the people most affected by what's happening? And they are, not surprisingly, the poor and the middle class. The upper class or the rich folks, they can afford to hire tax experts, be they attorneys, accountants, or financial managers of some kind. Whereas people at the lower end of the spectrum, not only are they seeing bad times, but they cannot afford to pay a professional to steer them along the way. So I have put together a course that will hopefully help these people. And each person situation, because it's different. Your situation might be solved in 6 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, or somewhere further down in the course. But sooner or later, I'll get to your situation and give you some answers. And as a matter of fact, with each topic that I present, I will not only speak about it, but I'll give you, oh, 3, 4, 5, 7 different ways of getting or solving the problem. Before I get deeper into my presentation here, if you like what I'm presenting to you, may I suggest that you get your friends and family and listen to what I'm saying because the stuff is heavy, it's free, but it's in your benefit. So please hit the subscribe button and let's move on to the next area. So what I want to say to you, before diving deeper into the subject matter, let me ask you a few questions. Are you that person who, irrespective of how hard you try, how hard you work, at the end of the day, you find yourself behind the 8 ball? You can't pay your bills. And even when you pay the bill, you can only pay the minimum, which, as I cited a few minutes ago, you see the money, the balance keep increasing and increasing. Another question: do you suffer from food insecurity? How about the kids? If you have kids, do they have to get breakfast at school? How tough is your situation? Another question: what if you had an emergency? Could you find $300, $400, $500, maybe $1,000 to pay you over? Or do you have a big fat zero? Would you like to have a better life for your kids and thereby generate wealth for them in their later years? Now, this other one is, I think, very fascinating. Are you that person that makes great income? You can afford the things in life that you want. Take a vacation, make a down payment on a car, whatever. But at the end of the year, you do not know where all that money went. And if you have tied up some of your money in low income bearing securities, the returns are so minuscule that when the numbers are put together, you're technically worse off from where you started. Now, we all have friends and family. But have you seen someone you know that have retired? They might be 65, 70, 80 years old, but for whatever reason, you see them back out in the workplace. Well, usually it's very simple, not for boredom at home, but in many cases, it's simply lack of funds. For you college graduates out there, some of you have degrees that aren't worth the paper it was printed on because the return on your investment is so small, it's a big joke. You graduate from university or college, and you end up with this piece of paper, say degree, but you have a mortgage, or what can be classified as a mortgage, 2, 3, $400,000 you owe. Do you wonder why others can take a vacation, find funds easily to do what they want to do, yet still you cannot? And in some cases, Some of these people are getting the same pay you're getting, but somehow they manage to find ways of stretching that dollar far further than you're able to. So therefore, I ask you then, how would you like to improve your lot economically, financially, psychologically, in other ways, and move to a better, higher height in your development? I have worked for decades and I'm now retired. I'd like to share with you some of the jobs that I have done over these many decades to give you an idea of where I'm coming from. I served as a factory laborer, doing some rough, dirty, nasty jobs. But guess what? It paid the bills. A hospital male aide, that wasn't pretty either. Because in that position, I had to do functions that many folks did not want to do. Car salesman was another one. Accounting clerk. There I really learned how to put the numbers together, how to not just balance a checkbook, but read the financial statements, you name it. I was also a night auditor, an accountant, and then an accountant manager, where I had many people reporting to me, both accountants, junior accountants, and a bunch of clerks. I also served as an adjunct professor, or shall I say lecturer, in accounting, finance, and management. I was also visiting professor in business and also an entrepreneur owning two different businesses. To accomplish most of these things here, I had to go to school, work hard, and I do have an MBA degree. Some of the areas that I will be going into or spending a lot of time in might require few segments. So, for example, if I were to do investments, I would go into areas that one could follow easily. And that could not be done in just one segment, but I might have to slice it up in three, four, maybe five segments. But the idea is for folks be able to understand what I'm talking about. Education, I might touch upon the areas like vocational versus college. What are the benefits? What should you come out of high school be doing? How should you prepare yourself for college? The do's and don'ts about being in college. Healthcare, credit, a problem that most of us have and cannot solve. Another area which is very, very unique, I would like to call it gremlins to income. What that is going to try and point out to you are the people and the things that are keeping you poor. So you do not want to miss this because this is going to be very interesting. I'm going to touch on another area called theory of special creation. But as I move along, sending these lectures, I will add more. So stay tuned. A lot is coming. You're going to be happy that you tune in and heard what I had to say. So until next time, my name is Neville Gooden, and most of my friends and family call me Uncle Neville. Have a great day.